was mounted immediately in more than 65 emergency units, including Minneapolis Police, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, State Patrol, Hennepin County EMS, and the FBI, the ATF, Homeland Security, descended on the scene. Healthcare and Children Minneapolis, Minnesota activated crisis protocol and began treating wounded children and adults immediately. This attack joins a string of violence unleashed in Minneapolis within a short span. Just the day before, another shooting in a high school left 7 people dead. Well, on a broader note, the event is under investigation, and police are working to piece together the motive behind the shooter and why he decided to descend this such devastation on the church while it was in session. They're not sure if he was a former student or what it is, but as it unfolds, we will keep you informed because we are acutely aware that some of you all only get your news from us. So early reports indicate that he had no notable criminal record and may have acted alone. So we are asking for incessant prayer for those families and for the victims, and as well as the shooter and the shooters. I say the shooter and the shooters because prayer moves your heart. Prayer moves your needle in a different direction. And so he's not the only one that's thinking about it. He's the one that did it today. So, but for the people that are actually thinking about, and this I'm talking to you specifically, thinking about having a mass destruction tirade that is going to affect people that you don't know and they don't know you. They have done nothing to you. Think about it. Let the peace of the Lord guide you, because here you are in a prayer vigil on the first week of school. You're looking forward to the 7th graders were looking forward to 8th grade. The 8th graders are looking forward to graduation. Everybody's looking forward fondly. And here you have firearms that end that, and you ended your own life. And I know this is harsh, but I say to all the shooters, if you want to do that, end your life first, and then it is over. Now, I know that's harsh.
Don't be a coward and end your life and just face the music and get arrested. Put them under the jail. I don't care.
Well, you know what? We are getting, I was going to say, we are getting so numb to this because it is senseless. You know, you think of Sandy Hill, you think of Florida. Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook. Right. Thank you. You think of Florida. You think of the Columbine, which was one of the first
nightclubs.
I mean,
there's so many other places this happens.
Vegas.
It's insane.
Yeah, but people are tired of it. So, you know, while we're talking about AI, while we're talking about how things are changing, we need to make bulletproof a priority. Because if you are unable to access entrance to these places that you intend to do harm to mass people, and you are standing outside, as was this gunman, if there were bulletproof windows, and you know, it sounds crazy to have bulletproof stained glass windows that.
But does it sound crazy?
Well, it sounds safe.
After we're reading this, it don't sound too crazy to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like every church, every business, every car. That's where we're going now. Is everything has to be bulletproof.
Yeah, because you know what, you're right about that, Adam. Because when we talk about on the expressways here in Chicago, a lot of people have gotten shot on the expressways. Just random shootings. They had nothing to do with it. They were just driving along, and of course, random shootings, and they were victimized and fatally, of course. Absolutely. So you're right. This is devastating, but we got to do something about it. We got to stop talking about it because we think, okay, it hasn't happened in months or maybe years go by, but you know that it's going to happen.
Yeah, but also, I know I'm not God. We're not God. I think we got to bring back the death penalty.
And we also have to bring back prayer in schools. You know what? I think that when we had prayer in schools, it was somebody was always holding you accountable. Absolutely. That Holy Spirit is real. And that Holy Spirit can keep you intact, keep you from going left, keep you going right when you want to go left. Because you feel like, okay, my mother or my father, my parents might not be watching me. My teachers might have turned and got distracted to do something, but I know that Holy Spirit is watching me.
Those nuns are watching too.
Oh,
I went to Catholic school and they were watching all the time.
Let me tell you something. Speaking of nuns, those nuns do not play to this day. Literally, if you go to
I remember starting my day with prayer, and it just really got you in the right headspace for school, for getting your day. If you had a bad day, you start that prayer, and your day is not as bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I think that we need to have a legislative push to bring prayer back into the schools because we're living in days of anarchy. Like literally, people are just doing their own thing, and sometimes those things don't resonate with other people.
Yeah.
As for the two children that died, may their souls rest in heaven.
Absolutely.
And they are now in a better place. But the ones that are fighting for their lives and the ones who will never unsee this, they will never be able to deal with this. They will have to go through years of therapy. Those are the people whose my heart goes out to. And prayer warriors, I can tell you guys on 1390, you guys are the best to ever do it. It is time to do it right here on the Brunch Bunch. We'll be back. Yeah, these people are doing some things. Hey, Keeltrick Harris. What's up, DLU Ball? I don't know how to pronounce it, 2023. But I truly appreciate you guys joining us. So I got a real racy topic today. And usually my racy topics are coming from someplace that either I've experienced personally or someone in my circle has experienced, right? Can I say threesomes?
Hey, why not?
Huh? You said, hey, yo?
Not on the radio.
No, we're not on the radio. So, this is becoming, I know it's always been happening. And for those of you who are like, oh my God, don't act like it hasn't happened. Don't act like you haven't even heard of it or maybe even been a part of it. But I definitely want to talk about this because I would like to know your opinion about threesomes. The reason I asked this is because it was brought to my attention that one young lady engaged her partner to go and solicit another young lady to engage in their activities, right? And it has been my experience, not personally, but it has been my experience that usually the one that comes in third ends up being first, right?
Yeah.
So what here's my question. Here's the topic. Are you doing that, ladies, because you think that's what your man wants you to do so you can keep them? Or are you doing that because that's what you like to do? You think it's both?
Especially if it's a long-term relationship, spice it up a little bit. That gets boring after a little bit. If you're together for 10, 15 years.
So if you're together for 10 or 15 years, it gets boring and you think that bringing another person into the equation is the spice that you're lacking?
I mean, for some people, I think so, but some people, I think that is people like watching another person with their partner. That's some people's kink.
Some people's kink. Okay, so we're on 1390, and most people that are on 1390 are married or in a monogamous relationship, and that's on the surface. But there are people that I have interviewed, and they've said, off the record, this is what we do. I don't know if that's healthy or if that is the detriment to a healthy relationship. And so that's the question.
I think it could help the relationship.
You think it can help the relationship?
I definitely think so. I mean, there's swinger parties all the time. Threesomes, bro. She's saying, does it help or hurt a relationship? I think it helps a little bit. It takes a certain person to be able to do that. If you're super jealous, it ain't gonna work for you. But if you don't really care about that, have some fun. I think it could be a good spice of life. I think it helps. I think it helps.
Do you think that's a man stance, or do you think? I want to hear from the women out there. What do you think? And this is a no judgment zone. Nobody. Yes, but I need ice. Is that a watermelon? It helps you detach from what?
But also, I feel like it makes you want your partner a little more after the fact too.
It depends on what kind of skills the other one.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think it's
that's true too.
Once I see you sleep with somebody else, now it's not like a possessive situation.
Correct. Exactly.
Now we can be friends.
Exactly.
Whereas we husband and wife, you're mine. It's not. It's like a responsibility.
I think in a long-term marriage,
I have to please you sexually. Now that I see somebody else please you sexually, it's not my responsibility.
Wow.
It is though. It's still your responsibility.
If this is your significant other, it's not your responsibility.
It's
Seriously,
definitely a responsibility.
your responsibility is her responsibility. Is your responsibility, in my
If
opinion.
we swinging,
I agree with you.
if we swinging, and the possessiveness is gone, you're not really like this my girl no more. A lot of responsibility.
See, that's my
That
that's
is true.
a lot
but
of
that's my
a
problem.
lot of responsibility is gone.
How?
I would say God wouldn't really like it.
No,
Hey,
God
hey,
doesn't.
we took God out of this.
Yeah, exactly. God,
Yeah,
I would,
yeah,
if we're
God,
strictly talking about
God,
inspiration on the radio, God's not probably with this.
No. Well, I don't
Because-
know
because of
because
that
let me say
point,
this.
though,
Let
you
me
just
say
said,
this.
but what's
Let
not
me
rid of the she's not yours no more.
You have stronger friendships.
let me say this though. Multiple partners has been around since people, right? If you look at it, Moses had 3
What's that
wives.
lady that couldn't have a baby? So
Sarah.
yeah,
Sarah had her maidservant have a
Yes.
baby for
Yeah.
her husband. So it has been happening since times have been in existence. So for those of you who think that this is a topic that's too racy for a religious sector, it's not. It has been happening. So I want to talk about it in a real way so that we can actually start to have the conversation that needs to
that's
happen.
that's another conversation in itself. Though. It's like if your wife is barren, can't. Why not?
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about extenuating
But isn't
circumstances.
that what happened with Sarah?
That's what happened with Sarah, but that wasn't the case. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about recreational. Is that something that women do because they want to do it, or is that something they do because they think that's what their man wants them to do? That is the question.
For the man, I don't think a man's ever gonna really turn it down.
Can you give me some ice because y'all making me hot? So that doesn't phase you guys?
That's the thing. It would phase me. It would phase me. I'd be like, no. But for somebody like him, he'd be like, whatever, let's share.
I want to be touched.
You're for all of us.
I want to be touched.
That's the Gemini in you.
No, it's just my experience.
So he comes back, gotta play a song.
This is my experience in dating. I like. I feel like.
So repeat the question, Sharon. Okay, so the question is, in a threesome situation, right? Is that something that women really want, or is that something that they do or acquiesce to do because they think that that will strengthen their relationship with their man and keep their man? You know, some people have babies because that they think that that's what's going to keep their man. Some people engage in multiple partners relationships because they think that's going to. Is that something that you really want to do, or is that something that you're doing because maybe desperation?
Yeah, is it 2 women and a guy? Or 2? I would never.
No, it's a man and a woman.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's a man and 2 women.
Okay, that's cool. I would never. 2 guys can have them.
Well, I think a lot of women like.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of women want threesomes because they like falls.
Kendo! Did you get the question, Sharon?
I'm not out here. Yeah, on Facebook.
What?
I feel like from my research, I feel like watch
Okay, that's valid.
Women like women.
I want you all to focus on the question though. Okay. The question is, do you do this? And it could be a man too. So a man might want to put some, like you say, spice in the relationship.
Yeah.
Is that the spice that you're looking for, or is that something that you're doing because you think that that's going to solidify, make your relationship more solid? Because maybe it might be, like you said, stale, on the brinks of destruction, or how does that?
If it's me, my girl, and another girl, if my girl likes women, yeah, that makes the relationship more solid. But if she just doing it because I want it,
because now both of y'all going out.
And
that's a
and
strong
that
connection
point,
right there.
That point,
man, that's the strongest connection as a man you can get.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It makes for a better
Yeah,
relationship. Like the relationship
it's
is
super
stronger.
fun and going out.
And if you let your girl sleep with other guys, it's even more.
So Sharon says that her circle would never consider that it's so disrespectful all the way around. Well, think about the comedian Monique.
Of course, my mom's saying that.
So
That's my mom.
think about Monique, the comedian. Remember, Monique had a very open relationship with her husband. Now Sharon, you made him like red, right? And if the partner is asking for that, such a turnoff and gross. That's what your mom says. Such a turnoff and gross. See, these are real conversations that I want to have. These are the real conversations that I want to have.
I asked my college girlfriend, can we have a thing? And she like, no, she was completely against it, right? Yeah. And then she ended up leaving me to go be with like other girls.
Dang.
Ain't that so?
That sucks.
That's rough, bro. Like,
Okay, let me set this up for you so you can comment on it. Remember Monique, the comedian, had an open marriage, right? And they were doing well. And then the person that they brought in ended up being the number one, and that destroyed their marriage. Huh? No, this happens all the time, but that's the one that I want to use as an example. Because she said in open forum, look, this is how we love, and that's fine. You can couch it however you want to. You can make your own rules up. However, it is the imminent threat of that number 3 person coming into your 2 equation, and then they become first position.
Step it up.
See, step it up. Thank you for your comments, Sharon. So for those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about threesomes, and I definitely want you to understand that we're not talking about this in a very salacious way. Talking about it in an informative way, because it was brought to my attention that threesomes are like the going thing, like the rage now, even in the Christian community. Like literally, it has been happening more than we know, more than we think. And so my question is, this is your topic of the day, is it a last-ditch effort to save your relationship?
Last-ditch is a good way to put it, though.
Or
it might be like your last, like, it's getting boring, you're kind of on the rocks a little bit, this could possibly save it.
Well, but in this scenario that was brought to me, it wasn't last-ditch. It was just, that's what I want to do. And I'm wondering, are the women with it, or are they just doing it because the men want them to do it?
I think some women.
Okay. So in the studio, we've got several different answers. It's both. It's only women that I'm going to do it with. Those kinds of things. I mean, I just want to hear from you. Put your comments in the and this is a no judgment zone, guys.
Once you get the detachment off of the concept,
2 men.
Where's the action, Jackson?
I'll tell you what's going on.
Hey there, believers. Adam Williams filling in for Marcel Action Jackson. So what's going on is another update on Trump sending people to Chicago. Trump planned Chicago Blitz would use naval base to house ICE agents, possibly the National Guard as well. So the Trump administration is quietly gearing up a new operation in Chicago this fall. And internal Navy email reveals that from September 2nd to the 30th, I'll say that again, from September 2nd to the 30th, federal immigration agents, specifically from DHS, ICE, and CBP, may be stationed at the naval stations Great Lakes, located just north of the city. This deployment mirrors earlier operations in Los Angeles, as outlined by Navy Captain Stephen Yargos, who warned his leadership of mounting concerns and questions about the plan. A formal request for military support, including potential help from the National Guard, must still be approved by the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth. What's especially striking is how disconnected this planning seems from local leadership here in Chicago. Neither Governor J.B. Pritzker nor Mayor Brandon Johnson has been informed.
Illinois, but we were informed.
Yeah, we're
informed.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth criticized the move, warning that deploying military forces in Chicago without any invitation is both unjustified and illegal. Duckworth, a former National Guard officer, I guess that's important because she really knows the ins and outs of all that. Yes. Mm-hmm. Argued that it undermines military readiness and distracts from protecting Americans from genuine threats. That's a very good point.
That's a very good point.
Durbin echoed similar concerns, noting that using the Great Lakes base for this purpose would disrupt essential operations over there. At a joint news conference, Governor Pritzker challenged the premise of the operation. He emphasized that if federal authorities believe this was truly about enhancing public safety, one would expect coordination with the city leadership, not unilateral plan launched in the shadows. I mean, any plan needs to have everybody on board, or it's not going to work.
Especially a plan like this, because coordination is key.
Very key. The military runs on coordination. This latest development builds upon prior moves by the Trump administration, which has already federalized the police force in Washington, D.C., and deployed thousands of National Guard troops to Los Angeles to manage civil unrest tied to the immigration raids. Despite the superficial similarities, Chicago's situation is fundamentally different. The military installation and ICE operations there would be occurring without local consent and under legal scrutiny. But Trump clearly doesn't care about
But LA
legal
didn't.
scrutinies.
But LA didn't have coordination either. In fact, they vehemently rejected their insurgents into the city.
Absolutely. So local officials in Illinois are preparing to push back. Pritzker, Johnson, and the state attorney general are exploring legal avenues to challenge such a deployment, raising alarms about executive overreach and violation of legal boundaries.
Overreaching is a really good word because
Definitely.
I think that this is a big overreach. And you know what? Chicago is very different from our other top 10 major cities. Chicago, the reason we got our Windy City tagline,
it ain't because of
it
wind.
ain't because of the wind. It was the political tides that change anytime that you get ready to change them. And, you know, Chicago has a different approach to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And we're a big gangster town. So,
Definitely.
you know, you might want to rethink
Watch
this.
out.
Yeah. and you know, the sentiment on the street is crazy because when I look around and I'm looking at people's countenance when I'm driving or riding or whatever, and they're just business as usual.
Bring
Nobody
Bring it.
exactly.
Bring it.
That's the sentiment.
Yep.
Bring it on.
Come on.
And so a lot of people are saying, and this I got from some very reliable sources, you know what? The hood is going to be very safe. And so people are actually bunking up with their relatives that live in different hoods because they know what's going to happen there. Well, you know what? I don't want to dismiss Trump's gangster prowess.
Yeah, let's not do
I
that.
definitely don't want to do that.
Definitely not.
However, my money's on Chicago.
Absolutely. Always going to be on Chicago.
Yes.
Always.
Bet on Shy. You know what? But people say, and we've got around an international reputation for being Chirac.
Yeah.
You didn't get the memo, Washington?
No,
Y'all didn't get the memo. Anyway, you know what, Trump? I don't know. But I do know. And you know too, Brunch Bunch. You know, believers, what we gonna do. You know how it's going down. Stay tuned, though. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. It's the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. So Zoe says, which is very important, Zoe says that it's just a way to get rid of your partner by agreement. Now, Faith Merriweather says it could save a relationship or it could speed up the end of that relationship. I've seen both outcomes. I've heard both outcomes too. Hi, my daddy.
It's gonna change.
It's going to change.
Hey, Neatest.
It's just a matter of like the people.
What's the change?
And how are they gonna take it?
Yeah, what's the change that's going on? But there will be a change. There's no doubt.
I love you. I miss you. I'm coming back soon. We got Jamaica on the line. We got Brazil on the line. Honey, we worldwide up in here. But what happened? What did you say about the threesome?
I said be open to letting your girl sleep around.
Hey, that's crazy.
Well, you know what? You're not going to stop people from doing what they want to do no matter what. You're never going to stop people from doing what they want to do.
And once you know you can't stop her, now you're not obligated to deal with all of the emotions no more either.
But I think what Adam said was extremely important because we're on a Christian-based show, right? But we're on our social media, which is not necessarily connected to our Christian-based show. But this is a topic that is both in the Christian community and outside of the Christian community. Now, a lot of people don't talk about it.
You don't think pastors are having threesomes?
Pastors are having threesomes. They're getting caught on camera by having threesomes. But my question, my overarching concern is, are you doing it because you want to? Or are you doing it because, like you said, it's a last-ditch effort to try and save a relationship? If that's your last-ditch effort to try and save the relationship, I think there's some... I think it's...
Come up with a better
idea. I agree. You have to come up with a better...
I just think...
Because then you're going to have cereal. It's going to be serially...
Go to therapy before you have a threesome. If therapy don't work, have a threesome.
Even if it becomes serious.
All right, so
did you hear that? Go to therapy before you have a threesome. If therapy don't work, then have a threesome.
Even if it becomes serious, is that such a bad thing?
Not for you. And you know what? We led this whole conversation with you. However you couch your relationship is however you couch your relationship, right? That's great. But my question is, are you doing it because that's what you want to do? Or are you doing it because you think that if you don't do it, your relationship is going to end? That's the question.
Yeah, if I don't do it, the relationship is going to end, and I don't want the relationship to end. I think that's a legitimate way to keep the relationship. Especially,
Is that the tie that binds you, though?
no, that's what I was about to say. If the tie that bonds you is more than just emotions and sex, then that's a great way to keep a relationship going. If we say, hey, we got 3 kids, right? We want to keep these kids living with both of their parents in one house. All right, let the parents go out and do their own thing. But yes, they're detached from each other.
That's a different type of
But
marriage.
they get to keep all of the kids in the same
No, that's an
house.
arrangement.
That's an arrangement. Yeah, that's not a marriage. That's like, all right, we're gonna
marriage, bro.
No, that's keeping.
It's a lifelong.
That's what my
partnership.
grandparents did. My grandparents, honestly,
They lived separate lives.
They didn't love each other, but they kept each other. They were together because of
Is
the
love
kids.
really that important though? That's what I'm
Yes,
saying. No,
love
it's
is.
not.
Whoa,
In the grand scheme
Love?
in the grand scheme of life, it's not the only
that's the
thing
most
that
powerful
matters.
thing on earth.
But
It's the most
not-
powerful thing on
100%,
earth.
but it's not the only thing that matters in the grand scheme of relationship. Though. We still got family. We
Communication,
still got
love.
family. No, we still got family. We still got legacy. We still got religion.
But
we
family,
still
is
got
that not
purpose.
attached to, inextricably attached to love?
Definitely.
100%. And who's to say because we're not sleeping with each other that we don't love each other? I say that we love each other more. We just not attached to each other's bodies no more. And that's what I'm saying. If we not attached to
You
each
can love
other,
somebody and not be
that's
attached.
what I'm
You're not
saying.
wrong.
Yeah, what's
You
that
actually
big
love
one,
them more.
Tanya?
Because
I don't know about all that.
I'll
More
tell you
is
why.
crazy.
I'll tell you why. Because when you attach to their body, you're only loving them because you're attached to their body. Once they detach.
Well, when you're attached to a body, you
Alright,
develop a soul tie.
So, all right. So look, exactly.
In the
So
Bible,
if they sleep with somebody else, those soul ties are gone now.
They're not necessarily gone, but
No,
they
you're
are definitely
always
diluted.
attached.
They're
They're diluted.
Right,
You're always
right?
attached.
Right.
though.
Okay.
Like
No,
your
they're
souls are
diluted.
always
They're
attached.
diluted, right?
Yes.
So it's a possibility.
This
that
is a
these
hot
soul
topic,
ties can get
obviously.
diluted, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's just dilute them in the first place so we can get the real version, bro. Because those soul ties is only there because if I
wouldn't
stay
say
faithful
diluting
and
is
you
the
stay
real.
faithful.
I wouldn't. Real is the wrong word. I would say it's not real.
It's not unconditional love at that point, though, bro. Because
So let me
only
ask you
conditional love
another
is
question,
faithful.
Justice. Let me ask you another question.
The
I mean,
detachment
Jarrell.
makes the love unconditional.
Hey, product
Wait, what
stop.
did you say makes it
Let me ask you
unconditional?
another
The
question.
sexual detachment makes love unconditional.
If you have engaged in just one time or maybe a couple times a threesome, can you go back to monogamy?
I just really
Crickets.
I think so.
Crickets.
I think it just depends on how what's your communication like, how mature is the relationship, like can we have these conversations and without
said no?
emotions?
Once you expose,
It's always going to be
It's just
different.
like drugs.
I feel like it's always going to come back in the fold.
So
I think it's always
threesomes
going to come
are
back in the
drugs?
fold.
Wow, that's
I mean,
powerful.
the dopamine you get it from
If
a
the person
threesome
wants to
is
involve
crazy.
someone else
I said it's like
in the relationship,
Dopamine
they
rush
have
is insane, bro.
likely already been talking to the other person. They've already checked out, right, Zoe?
I mean, that's what sex workers are for, though, too.
once you
There's no emotions in that.
Once you expose to anything,
That's a transaction.
So Zoe's posture on this is it could save the relationship or it could speed it up, the end of the relationship.
Yes.
So, I love you too, my sister.
I think that other person,
Hey, Mr.
Like-
Corey.
neither of you can know that other person. It's got to be like a really third party that you have no attachment to, your girl has no attachment to. Because then the feelings will get involved. I feel like if somebody knows and has a relationship with that person.
so all of this relationship stuff, monogamy just makes the relationship conditional.
Yeah, it
And
does.
That's what I'm saying. Once you let your girl sleep with other people, now you detach from her body, and now the love that you have has to be unconditional, bro. Because it's not just because she stays faithful to you. It's because I love who she
Yeah, if
actually
you
is.
stick around after your girl goes and has
Now
sex
the
with some
love
other
is
people, you
unconditional.
really love that person.
Now, and honestly, bro, I think a lot of guys are going into that space, and instead of calling this my girlfriend, they'll be like, "Oh, this is my best friend." And low key, I sleep with her sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes she sleep with other guys. But this is the girl that I.
You
got.
think that's the way that it's going?
Any guy
You do too?
Any guy over 25 that says this is my female best friend, and I low key slept with her, that's exactly.
Yeah, we can be
I
friends.
got unconditional love for this girl, but I know she gonna go do what she wanna do.
And that's fine.
And I would marry that.
Yeah.
I would
marry
100%
You would
say
marry
yes.
her.
Yes.
Okay. It's no judgment here.
Yeah,
No
I-
judgment zone at all.
I
I just want to know what people are thinking. And this is the conversation I wanted to have. Because I think a lot of times, people don't have honest conversations with each other, and so they can't really get to a resolve.
Oh,
What's the name of that song?
It's called Your Will by Darius Brooks.
What's the
It's
next
not on
one
here.
that you say?
It's not. No, we ain't looking for it.
Oh,
What's the
that.
next one?
All That You Do by Tiff Jones.
No, I want to hear God is a Genius.
Okay, we can go ahead. I think a lot of guys are.
Well, that's interesting to know
I do like
because you saying people over 25. Now, these people that not approach me with being their third wheel on their but just talk. We were talking about this whole conversation. They're in their 50s. So, like, you think somebody in you all's age group that's happening, but it's happening in every age group. Yeah, they're in their 50s.
Well, speaking of 50% of marriages end in divorce anyway, so why not try?
Speaking of 50.
Why not try?
Because it's too traditional.
Well,
It's already a coin flip with marriage. So
And
just
then you
throw it
gotta
in there.
find
Why
out
not?
Your spouse is cheating. Just
That's
assume they
the
doing it off
worst.
the jump.
That would be
And
terrible.
then see where it's at with.
And
so
then
this is a real adult conversation you have to have with your significant other.
yeah, you gotta be real mature.
You got to be real
Yeah.
mature to get into a
Cut your
situation like that
emotions out
and
before
have it solid
you
afterwards.
can't be emotional when you talk about this.
You're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on this version 1390. It's your girl, Tamara Fair, on the air, and I'm proudly posted in the studio with your main man.
Hey, believers, Adam Williams filling in for Marcel Action Jackson.
So, we talk about a lot of things on the radio, but we talk about even more things, right? Racy, dicey things on social media. So if you're not listening to us on social media, you might want to. Of course, you can catch us on Facebook for Brunch Bunch on Facebook, and you can also catch me on Tammy T Fair on Instagram, because today's topic is very, very hot. But you know what? Speaking of Trump, were you speaking of Trump?
I was
Oh, you were
Trump
speaking
for
of
sure.
Trump. So Hurricane Katrina actually changed the landscape for FEMA years ago, decades ago, actually. And Trump is rolling back now. Does that surprise you? It doesn't surprise me. So 20 years after Hurricane Katrina's devastation in New Orleans, survivors and emergency management experts are sounding the alarm about the Trump administration rollback of FEMA's reforms. So for residents like Darren McKinney, who survived Katrina in New Orleans' lower Ninth Ward, enduring 4 harrowing days trapped without food, water, abandoned when the unexpected military truck never appeared. Left to walk downtown, he eventually received a FEMA trailer that exposed him to unsafe levels of formaldehyde. Yet, with nowhere else to go, he had no choice but to stay. As you remember at the what was that, the Thunderdome? People were staying in there because literally people were standing on top of their roofs. The water was because the levees broke. So
even the domes, I remember the roof like kind of falling in too.
Well, in nearly 2 decades since Katrina, the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act aimed to fortify FEMA's capacity by ensuring strong leadership, clear authority, and accountability in a disaster response was reformed. However, now nearly 200 present and former FEMA workers have warned Congress that the reforms are being reversed even as climate-driven disasters increase. This internal dissent is striking, and in a letter dubbed the Katrina Declaration, several dozen FEMA staff, including 36 who signed by name, urged lawmakers to prevent a repeat of history because those levees are still not safe.
Yeah.
And if you go to New Orleans, you will still see that devastation. I mean, it still has the scent and the spirit of devastation. So they criticized Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and FEMA's acting administrator David Richardson for lacking the necessary emergency management experience. Notably, Richardson reportedly said in June that he was unaware of the U.S. hurricane season. He later called it a joke. Well, because he's probably
funny.
No, it's definitely not funny. So many people died and still continue to die in hurricanes, right?
That's crazy.
So staff warned that Noem's insistence on personally reviewing all contracts over $100,000, including funds for urgent disaster relief, has slowed FEMA response when speed is critical. If you are contacting FEMA, you are in a state of emergency, and they do not need bureaucratic lags to slow down assistance. No. So the exodus of experienced personnel is also alarming. FEMA has lost roughly 1/3 of its staff, some 2,000 employees, via layoffs, firings, and retirements under Trump. This loss undermines institutional knowledge and relationship built for effective coordination with states and local agencies. Well, experts warn that these policy shifts are particularly dangerous as climate change increases the frequency and intensity of disasters. Without a well-resourced, experienced FEMA staff, the United States may revert to the chaotic, deadly response scene in 2005. And that's when Katrina was. Well, the letter to Congress urges restoring FEMA's independent cabinet level status, removing it from within DHS's reach to preserve its mission to guard against political interference. FEMA was formed because so many emergencies were taking too long to get response and aid to it. Now, we will have foreign aid go quickly, right? But domestic aid, we got to take care of our own before we start taking care of anybody else.
Well, our politicians, I'm saying Trump, treat these like hurricanes, these disasters as like a photo op. Like last time a big hurricane happened in Puerto Rico, I believe.
It was definitely Puerto Rico.
He went and was throwing paper towels out at the crowd. Like, that's not going to help nobody.
Paper towels.
I don't need my president throwing paper towels at me. I need FEMA here.
Bounty is not going to get up all that water. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. And so the President Trump has publicly softened rhetoric about dismantling FEMA. Broader efforts are underway to shift responsibilities to states, curtailing funding and redefining the agency's role. Well, right here in Chicago, we have had a surge of floods that have left, thousands of homes in a state of emergency because their basements have flooded or their roofs have caved in. And FEMA has responded. But you know what? I have to take my hat off to our local politicians because they weren't playing. No. They were putting the pedal to the metal on FEMA responses. They were getting that information out via all kinds of vectors and literally getting people the assistance that they needed.
Well, I think they felt like they needed to because the executive branch wasn't going to be doing nothing. They're going to take too long.
Well, in that part. Well, the shift, critics argue, risking setting the stage for another disaster like the Katrina, this time even higher stakes and growing climate threats make it a bigger disaster than Katrina, if you could even say it. Now, we're approaching the hurricane season right now. So August, September, and the beginning of October is typically. But now typical is atypical now, right? As different climate shifts happen. And of course, a lot of that has to do with how fast these glaciers are melting. So as the glaciers melt and the water levels become more increasingly high, the threat is also higher, right? So I'm very excited about the fact that we have a response alarm that gives people warning, and it gives you a time to save yourself, save your families, and maybe some of your belongings. But in situations like this, right? I used to own a home in Tampa, and I would always, every single year during the hurricane season, be on high alert. Now that's not Miami, but still, it's on that body of water.
Tampa gets hit,
Tampa gets hit. But where we were, it wasn't as bad, but it was bad.
Oh, my friend's dad still lives out there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then you think about smaller items like Jamaica, Dominican, who get slammed during hurricane season, but they don't have the resources that the United States have. And I say this, and I'll say it again, that first world countries differ from third world countries because of how they take care of their most vulnerable citizens. If you're in a state of emergency, you are now a most vulnerable citizen. I don't care what your tax bracket is. I don't care where you land, the 1% or 5% or 30%. You are in a state of emergency.
LA fires.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't care that their top 1% was getting there. It was still people.
They needed help.
It was people at the end of the day.
And so what distinguishes us, the United States, from any other country, and particularly your third world countries, is, again, how we take care of our most vulnerable. And I'm looking at a cataclysmic shift in how we're taking care of our most vulnerable, how we're taking care of our seniors, how we're taking care of our preschoolers, our students, and how we're taking care of our people in states of emergencies. We're creating states of emergencies.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so I don't want you guys to be silent about this. I say this consistently. These midterm elections that are coming up, we have a lot of great candidates that are really stepping up to the plate.
We got one right here in Chicago.
Absolutely. You know, I'm so very excited about Representative LaShawn K. Ford, who is running for U.S. Congress, and he's got the endorsement and support of current U.S. Congressman Danny K. Davis. And the reason I'm so excited about it is because I very rarely meet politicians that don't do their jobs, right? And a lot of people have that stigma and say, oh, well, they're not doing nothing. That's not true. They do something. They're doing their job, but it's our job to inform them of how they need to do their job so it reflects our values and how we want our neighborhoods and our social segments of our worlds to look, right? But it's very rare that I meet a politician who has the passion and the sentiment that they sleep with, they eat with it, they breathe with it.
Yeah.
Like I see in LaShawn K. Ford. Now,
little birdie told me that he'll be on the show on Friday.
Yeah, little birdie told me that too. And the reason that I say that is not because I'm a proponent of any politician. I'm a proponent of people.
Yeah.
And when I got to know him during our childcare crisis, I saw the passion. I saw the genuine dedication and concern for people. And that's what we need to see in our elected officials. But these midterm elections are so very important that right now you have enough time to research who you need to, who you should vote for. And I'm not trying to sway that vote. All I'm saying is if you got potholes in your communities and your elected officials are not addressing that, then you need to say, you know what, I got to either talk to you because they have hours and you need to get one-on-one with them. And if they're not doing their jobs how you want them to do it, then it's time to fire them.
Absolutely.
If you've got states of emergency in your communities, and it could be you want to save the birds, whatever. It could be far-fetched from what someone else, your neighbor is thinking. But if it's a concern of yours, it should be concern of your politicians. Absolutely. And it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you educate that elected official on how you want them to vote. But now we've said a lot of times, get out and vote, and then we leave it.
Yeah.
Accountability is very important too. So you're right. LaShawn K. Ford is going to be on our show on Friday. And so I definitely want you guys to hear, but we open up the platform for anybody that's running. Absolutely. Because we want everyone to hear who and what their platform is. I say that because situations like Katrina, what we just talked about, situations like climate change, climate control, what are we going to do? How are we going to reduce our carbon imprint? Those are things that we need to talk about with our elected officials. And they need to tell us, look, this is what you do in order to reduce the carbon imprint, right? Because a lot of people don't know. But we're going to talk about those things. We're going to talk about it until those elections come up. And then we're going to keep talking about it because it's important enough to continue to talk about it. In the meantime, in between time, we always want to encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know, perfect stranger, that you love them, and show someone that you do know how much you love them. Lead with love. Land on love. I love you, Adam.
I love you, Tammy.
Believers, we love you. Baby Eminem, we love you too. Modi, I love you. Hey, up next is AC Green. And right after that, y'all, we do it all night long. All you got to do is keep your dial locked right here on Inspiration 1390. We'll see you tomorrow on the Brunch Bunch. Peace and stay optimistic. President Carter.
You've been speaking a lot faster today. You like doing something?
No, you know what? I have been speaking a lot faster, period. You've not noticed that all week?
Well, I noticed this today.
Yeah. This probably making me speak fast.
You were speaking fast for that, though. You was recording before, so.
I had a lot to say.
But you was like, it was almost like AI speed, bro. I was like, and she not like, there wasn't no stumble, stutters, nothing. I'm like, oh my goodness. I thought they don't think it's a computer or something.
Are you serious? It was like that? Well, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Terrell said I've been speaking AI fast. Well, I don't have a chip in my back because if I did, I'd be flying to my next destination. But in the meantime, y'all, I love you. I thank you so much. With the treat of my day, no aspersion to everyone who actually came on the live, but the treat of my day is my dad coming on all the way from Sete Lagoas, Brazil. I love you. Y'all, tomorrow, please tune in. And Friday, we have State Representative LaShawn K. Ford, who is the candidate for U.S. Congress. So we definitely want to have some dialogue, and I want you guys to make sure that you hear what his platforms are and how they're going to impact and affect you. What's up, President Carter? All right, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Stand in your lane. I love you.
Sounded so good. Inspiration
See you tomorrow.
music of power and praise.